Do you realize that Kmart was larger than Walmart in 1987? It is real. In fact, Kmart was growing so quickly in the 1970s that they were opening a new store every week. Kmart had the title of largest retail supply store in America for the latter half of the 20th century. So why is Kmart now viewed as inferior to other retail establishments? What did Walmart do to catch up to such a massive corporation swiftly? Welcome back to CompanyWorld. This is the devastating story of Kmart's fall and how Walmart overtook them. Well, real-time data enabled Walmart to outperform Kmart in terms of growth and revenue. Their experience teaches us a lot about the value of real-time knowledge and how it may improve business performance. While Walmart trailed far behind with $15.9 billion over 1,198 stores in 1987, Kmart posted revenues of $25.6 billion across 2,223 stores. It would not be easy to contest that Kmart was a more powerful and well-known retailer. Even though Kmart kept making investments and expanding, by 1990, Walmart had 279 fewer shops than Kmart and generated $2.9 billion more in revenue. So how on earth did they manage to pull off such a remarkable feat? It is a story of utilizing centralized, real-time data to increase the bottom line by better understanding what was happening at each store, optimizing conventional processes, and making smarter decisions. Walmart is still gathering enormous data needed to make better, more knowledgeable business decisions. The amount of data available to gather and analyze has greatly increased with the rise of e-commerce. 2.5 petabytes of unstructured data from 1 million customers are gathered by Walmart every hour. Over 145 million Americans' substantial customer data is collected by them. Kmart continues to struggle, has shuttered hundreds of its locations countrywide, and it is still outperformed by Walmart. But what do you think resulted in the failure of Kmart? It's hard to imagine that the discount store used to experience a flourishing business and had consistently full parking lots. Sebastian Sparing Kresge served as the company's CEO when Kmart was launched in 1889, under the name S.S. Kresge. Kresge opened the first business with $6,700 he had saved, and the second followed soon after. The shop quickly gained popularity as a cheap place to buy home items, and by 1912, it had $10 million in yearly sales. Kresge had a $375 million net worth by 1924. Fast forward to 1962, when Harry Cunningham, the company's president at that time, opened the Kmart we know today. Within a few years, Kmart had more than 100 locations and business was booming. So what specifically went wrong with Kmart, the $47 billion, more than a 40-year-old mass marketing company? After being acquired by Sears Holdings, a business with its own set of issues, the discount retailer that its rivals envy first declared bankruptcy in 2002, and then again in 2018 filed for bankruptcy. The shop lost more than 2/3 of its locations in just 10 years, and it's quite likely that the younger generation may not even know what a Kmart is. Let's take a look at some of the reasons Kmart failed. Firstly, they had no actual strategy to start with. Kmart was acquiring stores left, right, and center during the height of its prosperity without having any discernible plan aiming for it. Every successful brand employs a set of recognizable methods. They provide their customers with a particularly unique value. Kmart was frantically attempting to excel in everything while running around like a headless chicken. Every company has a way to play, as Lane Wild notes in the Harvard Business Review article, and Kmart did not. Lane Wild outlined the focus areas in which Walmart excelled to provide customers with special value. For instance, Walmart is known for having cheap pricing for everything. Therefore, that is what you think of when you think of Walmart. They avoid purchasing larger, more expensive items like furniture in favor of a less-priced toaster. On the other hand, Kmart lacks any real direction. It primarily offers a huge selection of brands at deeply discounted costs. It hasn't been able to articulate who it is. Kmart has never been able to improve their way to play. Therefore, there's no incentive for you to think of them when you are in need. Another factor is the lack of attention to rural areas. Walmart reached out to rural America, whereas Kmart stuck to the suburbs and refused to stray from the beaten road. With its always low prices, Walmart soon attracted rural customers and established efficient supply networks. This strategy was successful, and Walmart swiftly surpassed Kmart in sales. This demonstrates that Kmart's strategy of pumping out stores may not have been ideal, as Walmart had fewer locations when it overtook Kmart. This connects to the first benefit of having a solid plan of action. Kmart's only genuine plan was to continue expanding at all costs. Thirdly, Kmart lagged in the digital era. Well, despite the competition between Walmart, Target, and Kmart, something else was happening. The scope and reach of the internet were expanding. But, as usual, Kmart resisted the adjustment and acted unresponsibly. It refused to follow the online trend and restricted itself to offline retail. This did not benefit Kmart since all of its rivals listened and began offering an improved online experience. The fourth is that Kmart resembled a horse wearing blinkers. What do you mean by it exactly? Kmart literally pushed other prospects away when they came knocking because it was so intent on keeping its prices as low as possible. Customers had lots of alternatives in the furniture section because Kmart introduced the Martha Stewart collection to its stores in the 1980s. The initiative fared extremely well and generated about $1 billion annually before being discontinued by Kmart because of significantly higher costs. Kmart's customers weren't having it because the retailer emphasized price more than quality. The corporation would have been better off with Martha Stewart on board in the long term. Moreover, the demand was greater than the supply. The capacity to buy in bulk and provide in bulk was challenged as Kmart started selling store after store and getting rid of several of its companies. A supply chain plan that might support Kmart's low-cost business model was never implemented. Thus, this serious issue could no longer be disregarded when the businesses began to close. Due to innovation, Kmart never altered its supply chain approach. Any adjustments were made either as a result of playing catch-up or as a result of following Walmart's lead. Kmart lagged when supply chain technology advanced, and it was too late by the time it did. Supply was so critical that ignoring it eventually resulted in Kmart seizing all supply. Kmart had the opportunity to focus on fostering connections with its major suppliers even at the 1980s, height of 2,000 stores, but it chose not to. Overall, one of the causes of Kmart's demise could be a lack of a supply chain strategy. Kmart could have ruled the fashion landscape, but it didn't. Kmart has long excelled in offering affordable clothing. Even when the rest of the store's shelves were empty and scarcely used, they could still sell clothing, and several good brands were available on the ground floor. This power could have been their shining light, but it wasn't directed in the right direction. Recalling Lane Wald's opinion from the Harvard Business Review, this might have been part of their way to play, but it was still a squandered opportunity. Something else that led to their failure was a partnership between Sears and Kmart. This was the key factor in Kmart's collapse. Eddie Lampert decided it was worthwhile to save Kmart when it declared bankruptcy in 2002 and managed to have it debt-free by 2003. Then Lampert combined Sears and Kmart to catch up to Walmart, which he thought would be a brilliant move. With either consumer base, this did not go down well. The combination of Kmart's and Sears home goods did not work well, and Kmart's reputation hit a new low. This ultimately resulted in Sears Holdings declaring bankruptcy in 2018, which meant that Kmart, a business once among the most prosperous in the world, had already filed for bankruptcy twice in the previous 16 years. The demise of Kmart is sometimes attributed to Sears Holdings' takeover of the business. What about today then? Does Kmart have a business? Kmart once possessed one of the largest retail empires in the United States, but it now has just a few American locations. Kmart are still in business in Westwood, New Jersey, Bridgehampton, on Long Island, New York, and Miami. Kmart has unquestionably suffered significant losses. Since the turn of the century, Kmart has twice declared bankruptcy as its global profit margins decreased from $49 billion in 2005 to just $3.26 billion in 2020. Without a doubt, that's very depressing. But well, what are your views on this? Could Kmart still rule the retailer market if they had the right strategy? Comment below and let's interact. Also, please leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. That's all for today's video, and see you in the next one.